The Toronto Blue Jays dominate the Battle of the Birds as they take 3 out of 4 in Baltimore. We have a ton to break down, so without further ado, let's get straight into it. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside my co-host, Nick Gosse. We got a lot to break down today. It was a very fun series. But before we get started, I just want to mention that we're on the road to 1K subscribers. So you're going to see this beautiful graphic playing right now.
Yep.
Now, Nick, everyone that's watching this video, I want them to like, comment, and I want them to subscribe to our channel as we have the best Blue Jays content you're going to find on YouTube without a doubt.
Agreed. It's not debatable. Hit the subscribe button. We're getting
Absolutely.
close to 1K and lots of live streams coming up too.
Absolutely. We're going to be coming out with a ton of new content for you guys, whether that be live recap videos, whether that be news videos, daily news videos, or even live streams for the big games down the stretch of the season. We're going to have you all covered. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Now, Nick, this was a great series, 3 out of 4 against a team that is right down our backs for the final wild card spot, and we create a little bit of separation, a little bit of breathing room for the boys.
Yeah, it was again. I'll reference the last video like we often do. We wanted 3 out of 4. You said 3 out of 4 would be a great. It would be amazing. I was happy with the split, and I mean we got 3 out of 4, and we have what now 4.5 games up on the Orioles. So huge difference. This game was huge. The most recent game, but the series in general. I wish the Rays would lose a bit, but can't get it all.
Well, I'll counter that, Nick, because if we do get one of the top 2 wild card spots, we're probably going to have to play the Rays or the Mariners.
True.
And I want no piece of those teams in the playoffs. I'd rather see the winner of the AL Central, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, we were talking about that a bit in the live stream about who we'd rather. Yeah, I just wanted the home field advantage, but when you're looking at it, honestly, if we get any of the wild card spots, I feel pretty confident. Besides being in the Trop, that'd be a rough go.
Oh, that place is like a black hole where careers go to die, where teams' hopes go to die because the Rays are amazing at home.
Yeah, it's and there's I don't mind, like I hate the team and I hate the stadium. I mean I hate this, but I don't. Their players are all right. I don't hate them like the Orioles like now.
They're just such a frustrating team.
Yeah.
Such a frustrating team. So let's jump straight into game one here. There's a lot to break down. This was wall to wall perfect performance by the Blue Jays, in my opinion. Bullpen looked good. Kevin Gausman was great. Bichette continued his hot streak, 3-hit game. George Springer had 3 hits. He was struggling in the series before that. So, Nick, what stood out to you the most in this game one that we live streamed, by the way?
Yeah, it was. We talked a lot about it. I would say Gausman and Bo, just Bo continuing to do what he did, knowing it wasn't just a because he had a little short hot streak earlier in the year, way earlier, and this seems like nothing we've seen this year, or maybe even in his career. They were debating him obviously, and Gausman was just. I have full faith in Gausman, so Gausman's been great. The bullpen did well. Bo's on another level.
Absolutely. If he's playing like this, it just shows you the potential that this team has once October actually rolls around. And we were watching Game 4 tonight, obviously, and Pat Tabler and Dan Shulman, they agreed that they've never seen Bo play like this in his entire career.
Yeah, yeah, Pat said that again today. Granted, he went over 4, but yeah, he's been on. He took a walk though, so he drew like 7 walks in his last however many games, and he's just seeing the ball really well. And we need him with Vladdy's struggles the past 32 at bats. I think he's 4 for 32 now.
Right. And you mentioned it in the live stream that when Bo is clicking at the plate, his defense is also it levels up a notch. And he made that error in
Yeah,
game
he did.
3 that it was a routine play, that stuff happens, but you take the good with the bad with Bo Bichette. And sometimes, he's gonna be a little erratic. He has a lot of flair out there in the field, but when you can't complain when he's hitting the way he's hitting right now.
Yeah, exactly. You hit it right in the head. I wasn't mad at that error at all. Like errors are gonna happen with every player. Maybe not Matt Chapman, but basically every player. Errors are gonna happen, and when you're playing as well he is on offense, you can let a couple errors slide because I mean, what are you gonna do? Get mad at him for making an error when he's carrying the team 4 RBIs a game? So
And I saw this one tweet that Bichette cannot play shortstop. He should be at second base, and that kind of pissed me off because the guy that did tweet this out was a Yankees fan, and it
ha,
it ticked me off because first of all, he's our best option at shortstop right now. You don't have an internal option that would be better than Bichette. You can't stick Espinal there. You can't stick Merrifield there or Biggio for that matter. They just don't hit enough
yeah.
to be our everyday shortstop. So Bo, that's his place right now. Whether you want to address it in the offseason, address it through the farm system, that's fine. But I'm okay with Bo Bichette at shortstop right now for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, I mean it's not close. He's still a top. I mean, especially after this little
Hmm.
stretch. But even before then, he was still solid. But with his horrible year, even though it's horrible, he's still 10% better than average hitting. So and now he's doing way better. He's good. He's gonna be good, and he's gonna get paid. He's one of the best shortstops in the at least one of the best offensive shortstops. His defense does need work though, and I wouldn't be opposed to looking at an external option if that means moving him to second. I don't know. We can have that conversation in the offseason, I'm sure. But yeah, that classic Yankees fan.
Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna brush over that. But for Bo Bichette, you could see the amount of work that he puts in. His defense improved considerably since last season, and who's to say that's not going to get better going into next year? He's only 24 years old.
Yeah, exactly. He lots of time to he's putting in lots of time, and he's has lots of time to get better at defense. And the hitting is there, which is the main thing.
Mhm.
He's good, and I'm not really worried about him. I was a bit worried at the start of the year. I didn't know if it was like he had a fluke couple seasons or whatever, but I think I know that he's gonna be fine, whether he's with us or not. He'll be good.
Yeah, and defense aside, he's a superstar hitter, and he's been proving that over the past couple of games. Another thing that stood out to me, you brushed over it a little bit. Kevin Gausman, he does what he did what he does best in this game. He gives you a quality start. He strikes out a lot of guys and gives you a chance to win a ball game.
Yeah, he's been dominant. It's been great to watch. He had a little skid at the start of the year, like I don't know after like the start of the year, but in the middle of the year. Ever since then, he's been dominant. And again, you need starting. It starts with the starting pitching and ends with the starting pitching, both in the regular season, specifically the playoffs. In a 7 game series, you're gonna need Gausman, Berrios, and all those guys. But Gausman, he gives me nothing but confidence, and it's been great to see him figure out his splitter, which is what was kind of causing him trouble because hitters were hitting it before. But he figured that out, and it's a scary sight for other teams when we have Gausman and Manoah.
And we won't spend too much more time on this game because we do have a 3.5 hour live stream
Yeah,
dedicated to it. But Teoscar Hernandez, huge home run to make it 4-3, ended up being the winning run. Jays won 7-3. The bullpen looked good. We were calling the shots as they were happening.
yeah.
We were saying who was going to come out. Zach Pop, Adam Simber. We're the savants. That's why you got to subscribe to this channel. We know it all about the Jays, and at least as much as Jays fans know.
Yeah, and whether we actually are the best or not, you got to think it
I don't
to
know. Gotta
exactly.
give ourselves a little credit
You got
there.
to
We gotta
believe
give ourselves.
yourself if it's ever gonna happen. But yeah, the stream was great fun. Shout out to Turtle as well. He'll be in there, but
Yeah, absolutely. If you're watching this video, Turtle, big ups to you, my
yeah,
man.
it was a
Now
great
let's
stream.
let's move on. Let's move on now to game two, and this was an 8-4 win
Yep.
by the Blue Jays. The second leg of a doubleheader, and another huge win for the boys.
Yeah, this game was. It was like this was on this. It's like a second. I felt like I was a part of the back to back after the live stream. It was a long game. Long day I guess, but for the players more so, obviously. But yeah, it was interesting. So I wanted to see how Barrios was gonna bounce back and how the boys were gonna do after the first game. And you were trying to predict the lineup in the live stream, and you did pretty good. Yeah, game two was great. We saw Bo be Bo. We saw Jackie Bradley. I'm liking him. I really am. And
Mhm.
there were some other players there too. But what were your thoughts on the on Bo's continued performance?
I mean, you said we saw Bo be Bo. It looked like Bo turned into Barry
Yeah,
Bonds in this game because he hit three dingers He had 5 RBIs, and he just willed this team to a victory. He was unbelievable.
I wish they were in the Rogers Center for the hat trick, but
Yeah.
they weren't. He went for the fourth one too in his last at bat, but flew out. It was great. Bo, I was back to back games. I think he set a record. There was some sort of hitting record for like in one day or one game. I don't know the exact one,
Mhm.
but he was great. Barrios too. He was solid. We need more of that out of Barrios.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looked early on as though he didn't have his best stuff. And he didn't, honestly. He
No.
had 2 strikeouts in this game. The walks were good. I mean, only 2 walks, but he gave up 8 hits. But what Barrios has done over the course of his career, even if he doesn't have his best stuff, he gives your team a chance to win. And that's what he's been doing his last couple of starts. He's kept the Jays in games. And even though he's not striking guys out at a rate he did beforehand, he still looks decent.
Yeah, and that's the huge thing with Brios. We've talked about it before, and I actually watched. I think it was Dan Schulman talk about it. I don't know if it was on a podcast today I was watching. It's like Barrios. We need his floor to be higher because when he's elite, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball, really on his good days. But this
Mhm.
year, when he's been bad, it's been worst pitcher in baseball. We need his floor to be higher because if his floor is 6 innings, 3 runs, and then his ceiling is what it is, he would be great. And that's what he kept the ceiling high in this recent start for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And he chipped away. He chipped away, and he kept them in it the entire 9 innings. Now, one obviously Bo Bichette stood out in this game, and in the field as well. He made a great play up the middle.
Yeah, it was wild. It's good to see. I don't even seem too surprised when he does it anymore, though. I feel like he does those fairly often. It just might get overshadowed by his plethora of errors that tend to
Yeah.
occur. But it was a great play, and he makes it look easy. Yeah, it was great, and it was pretty important too.
And Kevin Biggio homered
Whew.
in a third consecutive series, I think.
Yeah, yeah. It
Third,
sounds yeah.
third
Third.
consecutive. Yeah.
He's every time he gets put out there, he does something that I feel as if is a positive impact on the team. Whether
Hmm.
it's and it could just be its versatility himself, but he's been putting power in the ball and he's a great eye. I like Kevin Biggio.
Yeah. And we're going to sound like broken records here because we say it pretty much every video. He could be one of the most valuable players on this Blue Jays team just for the simple fact, as you said, his versatility. He's a left-handed bat, which the Jays don't have a lot of good ones at least. And he can be such a useful player in John Schneider's system.
Yeah, and especially with the way that our other bench bats have been hitting, especially our other left-handed bat. Well, besides Jackie, but in Tapia, he's been ice cold. It's been bad. So
Yeah.
Biggio stepping up is huge. Speaking of Jackie Bradley Jr., he played really well. He had 3 hits and 2 doubles in this game.
Yeah, and that ground rule double kind of deflated the Orioles. It made it 6-1, I think, at that point, and it just knocked the wind out of that stadium. It knocked the wind out of that team, and it was a perfect day for the Blue Jays in that doubleheader.
Yeah, you said it. Yeah, Jackie, our 9 hitter doing that, who is known for his glove, is
Mhm.
it's why they got him over Zimmer, and they clearly saw something that I guess we didn't because we both didn't really get the move, or maybe they knew they were getting Zimmer back. But regardless, he's been a welcome addition and might be very critical down the stretch with the Lourdes Gurriel thing.
He has some playoff experience. He's been an all-star before in the past, and his floor is higher than
Oh, definitely.
Bradley Zimmer, of course. That's a given. And if he can do that, sometimes you just need to change the scenery, and that's proving to do a lot of good for JBJ.
Yeah, just the fact that he can get hits, as funny as it sounds, him going up there and not being automatic out, is what you want on when you're giving your regulars off days. So, and like I said, with the Lourdes Gurriel Jr. injury, we don't know how severe that'll be. I'm sure we'll get into that.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully he's all right. Now let's jump into Game 3 here.
Ugh.
This was the ugly game of the series, and we said it beforehand. It's okay if they split, and we'll be very happy with 3 out of 4. This was their one loss that they were allowed, and I still think that they easily could have won this game.
Yeah, which sucks to hear, but I mean, before the series, if we drew it up, anyway, if you had to predict, I would have predicted this in the like,
Hmm.
win games 1 and 2, lose game 3. And I mean, it's
Yeah.
what happened. Mitch White's scaring me now a little bit. You know what the thing is? He doesn't have, or at least there's something in his mentals. Maybe he gets the 2 strikes by being aggressive with his fastball. It's good. It has 95 mile per hour, and then he doesn't have a way to put hitters away. It seems.
No, he doesn't have that put away pitch. His stuff isn't plus stuff.
No,
It's very average. It's very um, kind of long relief type stuff. Stuff that'll get you some innings, that'll eat innings for your club when you're struggling. But as a starting pitcher, I don't see him in that role.
I think if he figures out either gets a finishing pitch or turns one of his pitches into a finishing pitch. He talked to Gausman after his last start before he inevitably got sent down. So hopefully they can work something out. This like he has potential. He's still young, and we have him under control. So I have more faith in him than like a Kikuchi, for example, in the sense of a long-term role.
Hmm.
I think Kikuchi has more upside now, but yeah, it was weird. He started off the his Blue Jays tenure so well too, so it kind of sucked to see him get rocked again.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to Mitch White, he's mostly fastball, curveball right now.
Yep,
Mixes in a changeup every now and then, but a curveball is not really a put away pitch in the majors. It's more of a show pitch. It's a pitch that you use to get ahead. And Mitch White just doesn't have a wipeout slider or a Trevor Richards type changeup. He just doesn't have that in his arsenal. Maybe he could develop it. He's still
exactly.
young. He has a lively arm, but I just don't see him as a fifth starter right now. And that's going to be a huge question mark down the stretch for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and it's I guess it's annoying. I saw some fans, a lot of fans, talk about Ross at the deadline getting Mitch White instead of I guess a Luis Castillo, for example, or someone else, or just a more reliable known starter. I guess even a Noah Syndergaard, who we were heavily linked to.
Yeah.
It's gonna beg the question down the stretch and into the postseason in hindsight whether he was the right move there. And yeah, the fifth starter, the Jays are going to, with their off days, they're going to continue, I'm sure, to, I guess, avoid it as much as possible. But I almost have more faith in doing bullpen days. Obviously, it's not sustainable, but
No, you want to mix those in every now and then as like a sort of relief option, a
yeah.
kind of get out of jail free card, but it's not something that you can do every fifth day. It just doesn't work that way.
You know, he would be nice to have right now is Max Castillo, but
Hmm.
eh. But yeah, you're right. I don't know what we're going to do with the fifth starter. It's a huge question mark, and it's a concern. It's a bit of a less of a concern when we get in, if we get in the playoffs. I don't want to say when, if we get in the playoffs, but to get into there, I don't know. We have a lot of games down the stretch against competitive teams, and I'm sure we could have a whole video on the fifth starter topic. So
Yeah,
I'll digress.
and I've seen some people on Jay's Twitter lobbying for Ricky Tiedemann to come up,
Uh,
but he's 19 years old and he's in Single A, and he's already reached his innings limit for the season, so that's not going to be happening, Jays fans.
yeah, well, I love me some Ricky Tiedemann, but yeah, well,
It'll be a couple years before we see him.
he's single A. Is he at double A?
Yeah,
Regardless,
yeah,
yeah, he looks great though. Um,
yeah. He does,
we
he
have some.
does, but he's not ready to face major league hitters yet.
No, and even if he was, you wouldn't want to put him in this situation regardless. It would just more than likely hinder his development. So we
Yeah,
got to figure. Agreed.
that can ruin a player. That
Yeah,
can ruin a player if they come up to the majors prematurely and they get shelled.
yeah. It worked for Manoah. It worked for Kirk, but I'm sure there's tons of other players who it hasn't worked for. In this game, quick note: Merriweather 1 1/3, I believe, with 3 strikeouts. He did give up a
Hmm.
single that I think led in a run. Not his run, obviously, but he looked good out there. He's pumping like 98, and he's gonna be a pretty important piece.
Yeah, absolutely. If we can add as many pieces as possible to this bullpen, especially considering the state of that rotation right now. Look, you have four guys locked in, but that fifth spot is up in the air. And you said it yourself, the best option at this point is a bullpen day until you can find an internal option or a way to kind of manage your pitchers where you give them a day off here, or maybe in the Texas series you kind of skip a start, go for a bullpen day. There's different ways you can attack it, but right now you need as many reliable arms in that bullpen as possible.
Yep, agreed. I believe what they're doing is, I saw a report on it, and it does make sense. So they sent Mitch White down today, and they're gonna which means he has to be down for 15 days, but he's gonna be brought up in the doubleheader in a few days because you're allowed to do that, and he's gonna
Mhm.
start the game Tuesday, I believe, the first game of the doubleheader against the Rays.
That's gonna be his season right there. That's his roster spot on the line.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with the move because I think right now he's still better than Kikuchi. Like, it has a better chance, I guess, to do decent against Kikuchi. And you can't shell your bullpen in a doubleheader. It's just not a sustainable thing. So, honestly,
No.
good roster management because we also got Pop and Moreno up, but Moreno will probably go down there once Mitch White comes back, like for the
Look, the
15th.
Jays are playing chess right now, and I'm not mad about it. So with that being said, let's move into game four. Let's try to put game three in the past. We're gonna move on to this final game, the one that we just saw. I saw a lot of great things today, and the headline for me, it's got to be the big man, Alek Manoah. Loved what I saw tonight.
Yeah, you'll see him in the thumbnail. He did great. Something we didn't mention in the last about the last game was the whole Brian Baker thing. The
Mm-hmm.
whole I like to put that in the past though. We didn't need to. I'm happy we didn't bring it into this game because we need to focus on winning. I don't care what Brian Baker has to say or any beef that's going on. Manoah dominant. I think he could have went for a complete game, but Romano hadn't pitched since Sunday, so he needs some work anyway with the off day tomorrow. Dominant, by the way, once again. This was about as good as it could have possibly went for the Blue Jays going into that game.
Yeah, considering how yesterday went with the bullpen having to work
Taxed.
extra hard, 7 pitchers or 8 pitchers were used, I think,
Yep.
in that game. And today, just 2. Manoah went 8 solid innings, and I like that they brought Romano out there
I agree.
because Manoah was at 95 pitches, which is a decent amount. He could have gone more, but you got a lot of games coming up, and you're going to need him to be your horse in those.
Yeah, it was definitely the right call. I would not want to be the guy to tell Manoa he can't go out there, but
He's a scary dude.
yeah, he was dominant, and after the yesterday's whole benches clearing thing, I knew he was gonna be. I was confident he was gonna be good, and he gave up a run early. Still wasn't worried. He's our ace, and he's honestly our pitcher of the next 10 years. So
Let's hope. Let's hope we can keep him
knock
around
on
for
wood.
that long. But he seems to love the city. He
Yeah,
seems to love this team. So I think he'll be in blue for a while. And
agreed.
one other thing that stood out to me today, you got to feel for him. Whit Merrifield hit a ball about as far as you can hit it to left field in Camden Yards, and it still didn't leave the yard. He's just bad luck right now.
Yeah, would have been gone in the old Camden, but man, it's been rough for him since he got here, and I do feel for him. He's been a great hitter most of his career, obviously not this
Mhm.
year. And he's, again, I can keep harping on it. The Lourdes Gurriel injury, if it is serious, we're going to need Merrifield more than anyone else on the Jays. And you talked about how he could be a very important piece, and he might need to be a very important piece because he's a way better defender than Biggio will be in the outfield. So I don't know how confident I'd be putting Biggio out there every day in the outfield if a
Mhm.
Lourdes Gurriel Jr. injury happens. But yeah, sucks for Merrifield. I think he'll have a moment in the coming weeks that'll define his career as a Blue Jay in a positive
Mhm.
manner.
I hope so. I hope you're right. And I was watching the game today, and when Lourdes got that injury, I'm thinking, oh my God, who do we go to now? Is it Zimmer? Do we have to go to Zimmer? I forgot we had Merrifield just
Yeah.
because he hasn't been playing. And then I see Merrifield, and I'm not worried when he comes out there. Like I know what he can do, and I know he can help this team out.
Yeah, I was the exact same. Well, I knew about Merrifield, but when he went down, I was like, well, first of all, it just looked weird, and then I was like, is he actually safe or is he out? And then I realized he was seriously hurt, and well, we don't know if he's seriously hurt, but John Snyder did say in the postgame interview he's okay, but they're doing
Let's
some.
hope.
Yeah, I don't know how much I believe any of that, but yeah, Merrifield's a fine backup option for him. He's someone who I could feel comfortable putting out in a playoff series starting if that had to happen, as opposed to Tapia. I would not. Zimmer, I would not. And Biggio, I don't think I would just because of the whole defense. You can't really have that in a playoff series.
Especially not in the outfield. I
In the
trust him
outfield.
at second
I agree.
base.
I agree.
For the time being, I trust him at second base. We've seen him make a couple of errors there too, but in the outfield, no way I'm starting Biggio out there in a playoff game.
Yeah, completely agree. Should have specified outfield. At second base, sure. Outfield is just he get picked on, tagged up, and all that. Yeah, Alejandro Kirk, another crazy game. 7 for his
Yeah,
last 10.
I was just going to mention that 7 for 10 in his last 2 games. Unbelievable. Kirky is back. He looks comfortable at the plate, and he's rolling when he's getting those little bleeders over the infield.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, and even those bloopers and the ones that may look lucky, like he's putting like those are hard pitches to even get that far. Like he's putting the barrel on them. Well, the end of the barrel, whatever it is, but yeah, Kirk's. We need him to be great, and this was his first time catching in 3 straight days all season. I believe is what they said, or maybe it was 3 straight games. It was something like that, which is important because we're gonna need him because he's our best catcher by far.
Yeah, and the Jays don't play until Friday, so you got to believe that. You got to believe that Jansen will be in there for game one. Maybe give Kirk a little bit of an extra breather, especially against the Rangers. But that's not a series that we can take lightly, and we'll preview that in a little bit. But Game 4 was another great performance by the Blue Jays. They came to Baltimore. They did exactly what they had to do, and because they did that, let's jump straight into our prestigious awards.
Yes, let's do it.
Yes, but before we do that, I just want to remind you guys one more time that we are on the road to 1K. So I'm gonna make Nick play the graphic one more time.
Yeah,
You'll see Vladdy in the Lambo.
you may. It sometimes doesn't work the second time. It didn't, but same thing. You know the Lambo. In our hearts.
You know the Lambo.
At this point, it's a meme to not have it show up the second time. So let's just keep it that way.
I think that's going to become a regular thing. We're going to play it at the beginning of the video and have it not play towards the end of the video. But our first award, let's go with the MVBJ, the most valuable Blue Jay. And I don't think this one is up for much debate. It's got to be Bo Bichette. But an honorable mention has to go to the big man, Alek Manoah. What do you think?
Yeah, completely agree. It's unanimous. I will give another honorable mention, Alejandro Kirk. I mean, you could have a bunch of MVBJs this series, but yeah, definitely Bo and Manoah. Honestly, you can lean towards Manoah in the fact that this was probably the most important game of the series, both regarding momentum towards the next series and just the fact that they lost the last one. It's a difference between 2 full games in the wild card race, but I'll give it to Bo just simply because he's been unstoppable.
Yeah, this has basically been a Bo fan page video. This one, but
Yep.
don't worry, we'll have a lot more Bo coming up in a little bit because we're going to be coming out with a Bo Bichette appreciation video, you could call it.
Yeah, it'll be
in a couple of days.
Exactly, different kind of video. Something to look out for over the next few days. I think you guys will like to see it if you're fans of, I guess, baseball in general, honestly.
And Nick, there's nothing wrong with multiple MVBJs, as we like to say. Now let's jump into the second award here, the Mitch White GQ award, and I will say it, even though Mitch White got sent down, in honor of him being the most handsome Blue Jay.
I'll show the graphic one more time. Yeah,
I'll show the graphic
twice.
In honor of him being the most handsome Blue Jay, we hand this out to the best play of the series. And Nick, I'll let you go first on this one.
Now there was a few plays we could have went with. There was Bo's. I'm gonna go with Bo's. I'm gonna go with Bo's turnaround throw. Just to be different because there really was a unanimous winner here, but I want to be different. Bo's turnaround throw. We already talked about it. Honorable mention to another great play that happened to happen in Game 4. What's your award?
Absolutely, and I'm sure Nick is a little mad that he can't give this award to a reliever this time.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
He loves his relievers. He loves his relievers. But I'm gonna give the Mitch White GQ award to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for his behind the back play in Game 4. Little Bartolo Colon-esque, the way he just flipped that to Alek Manoah. And I thought he bobbled it at first. It looked like he booted the ground ball. and then out of nowhere, he just flips it behind his back.
Yeah, it was realistically that's who I was going to give it to, but let's not have the same for two awards in a row.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, both players were great. Vladdy's was obviously much better. That was like highlight level. It was
that was a top 10.
weird hearing the announcer in a baseball game say behind the back, but yeah, it was great. And shout out to Bo though, he deserves some love too.
Yeah, absolutely. And our final award is the Rougned Odor Gold Star. And as we always mention, this is up for interpretation. This is could be the biggest clown of the series, could be the biggest loser of the series, whatever you want to call it. But we had the pleasure of playing against Rougned Odor in this series. So with that being said,
Sure.
I'm going to give it to the man himself. I'm going to give it to Rougned Odor for bat flipping after hitting a home run in game 2 and still losing the game.
Yeah, I showed the graphic twice just to shout him out here. Yeah, I'm always for Odor. I guess banter or slander, we'll say. I'm gonna take it in. I had two answers and none of them had Odor. So I think you're gonna agree with my first one, which is the honorable mention, which is I guess umping in the whole series. But I'm gonna give a special shout out to Jeff Nelson. I feel like at this point we need to make a segment or have some sort of ump award. I don't know, but they always come up. Jeff Nelson, awful, always will be awful. Shouldn't touch a Blue Jays game for the rest of the year, or at least home plate. Yeah, but the actual winner is going to be Adley Rutschman in Game 4, trying to throw behind Kirk.
Give the rookie a break, man. Give the
No,
rookie a
no,
break.
I'm not doing it. If it didn't cost him a run, sure. It cost them a run, which also I believe led to another run, maybe. But either way, yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I think it did lead to it. So yeah, I'm not giving the rookie a break for this one. I do love Adley Rutschman though. No,
he's a great player.
Great player, great catcher, great hitter. Unfortunately, I also don't know what Kirk was doing though, because if the throw was online, he would have been hosed. But we'll give it to Adley. I'd rather give it to the umps, but I've already given it to the umps, or we have like 3 times. So
yeah, Jeff Nelson is basically Angel Hernandez 2.0.
Maybe the Jeff Nelson Award for the worst umpire, worst umpire of the year at the end of the year.
Agreed. Now that's about all the time we have for today. So thanks again for joining us. We are on the road to 1K. I won't make you play the graphic this time.
No.
But if you made it this far, thank you so much. And like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It helps us out a ton. We're going to be making a ton more content for you guys, a bunch of great content. And Nick, it was a blast, man.
Yeah, it was fun. We have some unique stuff coming up, but that differs a bit from our usual content. So that's going to be exciting to see. Mm-hmm. And big series coming ahead, which we'll talk to you guys on whenever the end of Ranger series is, but you'll see us before then. So yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jays fans. Peace.
Peace.